Hi, I'm James Shillinglaw, and I'm here on the bridge of UnCruise Adventures Wilderness Legacy with Captain Doug Kuhnauer. And we're overlooking, you can't see it now, but we're overlooking this marvelous bay inlet in Alaska. And we're here on the final day of our Alaska cruise with UnCruise Adventures. We're going to talk to Captain Doug about the ship, what you can get on it, and about the entire experience. And you're going to find out about that and more on Insider Travel Report. Well, Captain Doug, first of all, thank you so much. It's been great. You're a great host. I even saw you do a little polar plunge, but that's another story.
We won't go into details on that. It was quite cool.
It was quite cool. And a lot of people did it. I sadly did not. I actually did my own little polar plunge. I kind of fell off the raft. But let's not talk about that. But anyway, let's talk a little bit about this ship, the history of this ship. It was called the SS Legacy. I think you're kind of rebranding it the Wilderness Legacy now. But talk about the history of the ship, when it was built. And it's really a classic. It looks like it's been here forever, to be honest with you.
Yeah, the ship was built in 1984, and I remember sailing up here. Early 2000 was the first time I saw the ship, early in my career, right. And I remember thinking, boy, what a ship. She was really the jewel of this industry, and she still is. She's got a lot of classic charm, and just a ship I really enjoy sailing on.
Yeah, well, it's sort of like a wedding cake, you know. It looks like, and all the cabins, most of the cabins open out onto a deck. You wanted to prom on a deck, you got three or four of them here, right? You got a lot of them, right?
Yeah, and there's also, you know, a lot of wood and brass touches and things that really distinguish her from a lot of the other ships in this industry.
Now, let's talk a little about the accommodations. How many cabins? How many passengers can you carry? And it's like, I think it's 86, right, or something.
Currently, we're set up to have, I believe, a maximum of 68. Okay. So a lot of the original accommodations have been converted to crew accommodations, okay, to sort of up the level of service on board. She originally was built with 99 was her maximum passenger capacity.
And now because of COVID, I think we're sailing with 50, 55, something like that, right?
Correct, yeah.
Passenger.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah. But it is you have a marvelous crew. They're all really young, enthusiastic, and great. Now, talk about a little bit of the features of the ship. I mean, we're up here on the bridge, but we're on the top deck, and we have a lot of the Zodiacs are behind us, and behind that is kind of one of your staging areas for, it was where we learned all about how to kayak, right?
Correct. So here in the bridge, as all the way up forward, obviously, then you've got some traditional large stacks back behind.
They're
us.
Real stacks. They're real work.
They're real working stacks. These are not some fake falsetto stacks. Then back behind there, we've got an open area for passengers to lounge, and a couple of hot tubs as well.
Yeah, I saw some friends of mine in there. I almost did it. I thought I'd see you after your plunge, but we'll see.
Yeah, I wish. That would have been a smart idea for me. Then back behind the hot tubs, we have storage for our 4 inflatable boats, right, that we use to take people around on the many activities that we do. And then we have an area that we affectionately call the barn. The barn has exercise equipment. It's also where we do a lot of the introductions for kayaking, and can gather people together there. It's covered, completely surrounded, and out of the weather.
Yeah, well, that was where my first introduction to kayak. I had many more after that. And of course, last night we actually used that area in front of the inflatable boats for a pizza party where you actually had a pizza oven, and your chef is making pizza for everybody, right?
Yeah, that's actually something that our chef Brendan came up with, and he's been really excited. Last night was our first go of it, and I can attest that the pizza was fantastic.
I can, and I tried a few of them.
Yeah, he did a really good job. He ferments the dough for 3 days, and he'll actually keep that dough going for the next cruise, and it made a big difference, the taste of it.
Well, that actually reminds me. I mean, talk about the kind of dining facilities. You have one main dining area on deck one, which it really can accommodate the whole ship, right?
Yeah, it's by far the largest dining area, and the best setup, and I think in our fleet. It's got round tables, but it's also got what would you call it?
Booths and everything.
Booth type seating,
right there,
yeah.
booth seating, everything, and you really can get it. And it's great. I will be doing an interview with Chef Brendan a little later. That you'll see, because he's really kind of a creative guy, very interesting. Yeah. Although the only challenge is you got to figure out the most of your food just after breakfast when you're not that hungry.
Correct. Yeah, he does. They do ask what you would like for the evening meal. That said, people can and do switch. They certainly make enough.
Yeah. I had people asking for grilled cheese and burgers and things like that, and it is. But there are no menus. It's kind of you go with the flow. But it's really good food, and we'll talk more about that. I know the crew gets this too, so it's pretty good.
Yeah, I always say that the crew should be eating just as good as the passengers,
and the captain especially. Right?
And the captain, yeah. We were talking earlier about our pastry chef, and she makes some terrific pastries, not only for the guest on board, but also for the crew.
Yeah, I would say I've been on a lot of cruise ships, but these were the best pastries I've ever had on board, and the best bread.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Now let's talk. You also have the sort of the main gathering point is the lounge, as a bar, and you have lots of great. I mean, people really do hang out there. Lots of great books. It really is a real gathering place, right?
Yeah, actually, the lounge was the first space I came into on the boat. This was when I was captain on another one of our vessels, and I came to meet the other captain at the time, and I walked in there and I'm like, wow, this is an amazing space. You've got this old-fashioned bar that you'd see in one of the rustic bars. Not many of them left like that. Then also a piano in one corner.
Yeah, I saw that. I haven't seen anybody play yet, but maybe tonight. We'll see.
Yeah, I can't attest to the tuning of the piano, but yeah, it's certainly there. We've also got banjos for people to play, but it's really a beautiful space.
No, it definitely is. And then just in front, we can all hop out as we did the other day. Your owner, Dan Blanchard, Captain Dan Blanchard, said whale, and we all rushed out. In fact, it was in the middle of a lecture, if I recall, and so we all had to rush out to watch the whales, and we did see a very good sighting then.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the things that works the best about this boat is because it has so many levels. People can get all the way up forward. We can basically get everybody up at the bow on one of the decks so that they're seeing. And it also, as a boat driver, makes it much easier. A lot of times on the smaller boats with less decks, you need to turn the boat sideways to whatever we're seeing, so that everybody can get on the deck. Not necessarily with this boat.
Well, yeah, no, in fact, you just race. Basically, if you're in your cabin, you get out. If you're on the wrong side, you go to the other side. But you are on a deck right away, and I think most people like to come up here right underneath the bridge or right below on the deck with the lounge. But it is really a great place for viewing all the wildlife, and whether it's a whale or a porpoise or a bear on land, we had that too. So we've been spotting a lot over the last day. Let's talk a little bit about this itinerary. We started in Juneau, and we're going to end in Sitka, but we've gone through all the things. Glacier National Park. It's been amazing. Right?
Yeah, so this is an itinerary that I'm very familiar with. I've done for years, and start in Juneau. Usually go to one of the bays in icy straits. We've got 2 days in Glacier Bay, which is really the best way to see Glacier Bay. I highly recommend, if you're looking at a trip, find one of the ones that gets those 2 days. Where you're
really up close and personal. You are right close to the glacier on one thing with the ship, and then you're a little farther away, but a little with the kayaks on the next glacier, right?
Yeah, exactly. And being able to actually get off the boat in Glacier Bay. is key, and you can only really do that when you have a 2-day itinerary. Otherwise, you're trying to see all the sites in Glacier Bay, and you have to just keep moving on the 1-day itineraries. So after we do Glacier Bay, we'll come down and do one of the bays, maybe in Peril Straits or even in Icy Straits again.
We were in a place called Deep Bay, which I guess it's deep, right?
Yeah, well, it's actually not all that deep, but
it's a misnomer. But we thought, yeah, and then we did see. I don't know if we saw whales there, but it was pretty impressive.
Yeah, it's a beautiful spot. A little bit tight getting into there. It's definitely one that the captain's on the bridge coming into, and also as we exit, we go through a place called Sturgis Narrows, which is known for very strong tidal currents going through it. I believe up to 10, 11 knots. A couple days ago, they had a 8.5 knot. We went through it during slack water on purpose, but it can be quite a challenge.
Yeah, and then we also saw an island full of sea lions, which was pretty. I think it was, what was it called? It was. We had this island that they were just lying out on the rock, and and we all gathered up and looked at it. I think it was Marble? South
yeah,
Marble
so that's South Marble Island in Glacier Bay, and it's also very well known for the wide variety of birds. I'm not at all a naturalist, but
we got a few on here board to help.
We got a few on board that helped me out with identifying the birds, but
and then the other one we went to this was it Gloomy Knob, which is a wonderful name. It's not that gloomy, and Captain Dan, the owner, was saying, you see these great mountain goats, and actually that's where we saw a bear. So
yeah, Gloomy Knob is a great place to spot, like you say, mountain goats, but this time we actually saw a couple of bears adjacent to it in a stream, and then as we were coming by, we actually passed a bear that was asleep on Gloomy Knob. So we stopped. I think maybe the sound of our engines might have woke him up, and he did a very groggy, almost kind of wiping the eyes maneuver.
So it's been a great cruise. We've seen a lot. We've gone in kayaks. We've done bushwhacking, which I actually did at the beginning, which is actually going straight up through no trails except the wildlife trails, and really going through past and underneath and over trees and rocks, and really hiking all the way up to a ridge and then coming down again. A wonderful experience. This really can be a real adventure, right?
Yeah, and that's something that UnCruise has really pioneered is the bushwhacking. When I first came up here, it was really port to port, and then you do some bays, but you're sticking to trails. We're going into places that people haven't really been to, and making our own trails, and that's pretty exciting. And I'm frankly excited to see what UnCruise does next. What's the next thing that we pioneer?
The biggest reveal for me was how adventurous this can be. I mean, you get an impression that maybe there are some older passengers, guests on board, and they do get a chance to see everything up close and personal. They can go out on skiffs. They may not be right for these really extreme hikes, but you can also do those extreme hikes, right?
Yeah, there's definitely something for everyone. Like you say, the skiff tours are great. You've got one of the expedition staff that will explain to you, and they really have an enthusiasm for what they're doing, and can make those skiff rides really exciting. And we also do beach meanders for people that don't.
I did that. We were all up, and I did the all-day kayak, which kind of did me in a little bit, a little overly ambitious, but it was a marvelous experience. And that's where I enjoyed the icy waters for a little while. So that was just a half of me, I guess. And as they said, get your boot topped, right?
Yes, most definitely. Yeah, the boots are definitely a necessity here.
Necessity, but if the water goes over them, you're going to get water in the boot. And I did that, but it was great. And somebody said, do you want warm clothing? No, I'm just going to gut it out. And I did. And it really was a marvelous experience, along with the bushwhacking. And then I did some skiff rides, and then we did these incredible hikes. So it's been a marvelous experience. Now, how long are you on board for this season?
So I started work February 15th, and I'll be getting off in another week. So it's a good 4 months almost for me. Well, yeah, just
And then are you coming back later? Or?
yeah. I have 3 weeks off. Unfortunately, not going to be able to go home. I live overseas, and
Yeah, but we were talking about that. You live in an interesting place. Where do you live?
I live in Southeast Asia, Cambodia. So I'm the one that travels usually the farthest to get here.
If I was complaining about 12 hours from New York, you said you came from Cambodia. I said, oh, you have a ways to get back.
Yeah, it takes me sometimes 35 hours just to get back to Cambodia, and then I have a 6-hour drive to my house. So it's
what you told me. It sounds like it's really, Cambodia sounds great. It sounds like a great place to live, and we were talking about that earlier. If you get on board, you can talk with the captain about that. It's a real story. It's a great story. So you have to get on board though to find out about that, right?
Yeah, and I'm more than willing to share. It's a place I love, and really enjoy talking to people about Cambodia, as well as the many things that we do here at UnCruise.
And with Alaska too, and then of course you'll be going down to other places probably next year, later in the year, to other, because you do, I think Costa Rica, you do all kinds of places, right?
Yeah, Costa Rica, Panama, Hawaii. We do the Columbia River. We've also got itineraries in Galapagos. I'm sure I'm forgetting something here. Mexico as well.
Yeah, no, it's you have, everybody thinks you're Alaska, but you're a lot more. But you do Alaska really well.
Yeah, I think Alaska is where we started, and it's definitely sort of where the company's roots come from. But we spent a lot of time in these other places. I captained a vessel down in Mexico for many years, and that's an itinerary I love as well.
Yeah. Again, Captain, I want to thank you for hosting us. It was great to be up here to really truly experience Alaska, and it's really been the first time for me to really understand what this is all about.
Yeah, thank you. This is fun. I enjoyed spending some time with you, and hope to see more people coming up here, and your viewers as well.
Yeah, well, hopefully we'll have our travel advisors. If you don't come up here yourself to make sure you know what it is all about, and then come back and book your clients, because they will be, and they'll rebook, and maybe they'll have Captain Doug not only for Alaska but other places all around down in South America, Latin America, all kinds of places.
Yeah, one thing I always tell people when I talk to them about Alaska is, I don't care if you come up with us, but you need to come up and see Alaska, and a small cruise ship is definitely the way to do it.
Absolutely. Well, thanks again. I'm James Shillinglaw on the bridge of the Wilderness Legacy, and we got one more day to go. And please book your clients coming up here. They will enjoy it, and you will enjoy selling it to them. I'm James Shillinglaw, and this is Insider Travel Report.